Hello, everyone. Welcome to November 21 Zeam call. Today, the attendance is a bit thin because some of the people are in Dev Connect. So maybe this call would be short, but the agenda of today's call is to check how ready we are for DevNet 1, and we'll talk about that. But before that, we'll go with updates. So let's start an update from Kai. Kai, if you're speaking, we can't hear you. Oh, we can still hear you, Kai. Maybe you need to relog in back, and in the meantime, we will move to update from Anshul.
Yeah, so not much from my end as such. So there was one PR that I reviewed on Lean Spec side. Apart from that, I was looking into the event loop thread. So there was some issue with that. I had like initially planned to do it after the current block syncing PR once that is merged. But since that was taking some time, I was looking into it and I was comparing the flow with Ghosty. So it's like a different CLI emulator app. I have taken some reference. I'll update my PR to fix the breaking integration tests. Apart from that, there's another issue that I was looking into, and maybe Gajendra, you can briefly summarize what exactly is required. So there's like vote optimization thing where we don't collect votes after a checkpoint is justified. So I was thinking of taking that up, and like I looked into the flow, how it's going through right now, but I couldn't really understand like what's the requirement there. There's an issue already. You have assigned it to yourself. So if you are not working on it, I can pick it up.
Yeah, just to share me the issue that you're talking about, because it has been some time that I've created the issue. So just DM me the issue, and I look, maybe the issue might have changed. So we'll do about that. But yes, I do remember that we need to. So currently, the way we accumulate votes right now is very naive. The way that Vitalik accumulated votes in his PR was that basically, you have, for example, you accumulate some votes which have the same source as the current justified, and your justified moves, right? You justify a new checkpoint, and at that point, you further add more votes that whose source matches to this justified, right? So basically, it's like, how many votes can you add? How many further justification can you push, right? So in a single block. So currently, the naive way we do is we just take the things that match with the current justified and then don't iterate over the loop, right? But we sort of need to run, we need to basically simulate process attestations and see if we can justify something new. And if we have justified something new, then can we pick up more votes that have the same source as that justified, and then sort of repeat this in a cycle till there is no more justification happening, right? So this way you are trying to accumulate as much as votes as you can, so that you can move the justification as much further out that is possible at that particular point. uh, I don't think it is needed, because there will be there is further rounds of voting, and if we are able to move justification forward, then it will get further moved along by other nodes. Uh, but I think it's still sort of, it's an optimization. If we want to pick, we can pick it, but that is something to be done uh, without basically doing the full state transition. The way it has been currently written in the spec is that you run the state transition again and again whenever you do new justifications, and you are able to add more votes, right? So you repack the votes and you rerun the state transition on the parent state again and again, which is something that we don't want. We only want to run process attestations again and again to see whether we can further move the justification or not. So in that sense, yeah, so this is an optimization. I think Ream has it, so I guess we can also have it. But at this point, we are also not sure whether we should put time in this, because 3SF most probably will get replaced by something even better, like 2SF. That was, for example, what is a final consensus finalization mechanism. Uh, but yeah, if we want to do it, this is something that we can pick, given that all our other things are addressed. But if you want to do something, I would basically say that let's focus on the next DevNet, which is basically lean VM integration, and start looking into it. Because yeah, as I will give my update that current DevNet one, we are there and we are also working fine with lean quick start. So this is sort of also my update. And so I just merged in a PR where lean quick start is also integrated well with our code base. We are able to start two Zeam nodes that are able to talk to each other and do justification and finalization. So I will start looking into integration of other clients and see, if we can achieve parity with them. The question really that would come at this point would be in terms of whether we can consume each other's signatures or not. So I think if there is no bug that is there in our code base, and other clients also are working fine with that regard, so in that sense we should be able to interop with them. But that is something that I will start working on
Yeah.
over the weekend.
Yeah, so that was another thing that I was looking through during this week. So I looked at, so initially, if you remember, like I had raised a PR in which I was directly consuming the library from Ream itself. But eventually, like we had this discussion about the serialization around these signatures. So I think like we have come into consensus about using bin coding for now. Again, like I think like this might also change once we move forward and the signature aggregation stuff gets finalized. Then so yeah, that will like add to my update. But apart from that, like I'll DM you regarding the details about what are the next steps for PQ2, and I can start looking into that as well.
Yeah, I think in the last Wednesday call that happened last week, we basically talked about what is the interface that we would want for lean VM. And did they share a link? I think lean VM is already in lean Ethereum organization. Is it?
Yes. Yeah.
So if it is, let's start looking into it, and let's start figuring out how we can do it spec wise as well, because it would be good idea to also do a spec PR for that. And in that sense, would we be able to do a Python spec for lean VM? Is the lean VM in Python? No, right? It's in Rust. So we might need to do some sort of a binding for Python spec to do that. And what is the current scenario for spec test for the current signature? Because if Python XMSS library, which does not use bin code, if so, how we'll get matching specs for that? Have you? I think Toma mentioned something regarding that in the group,
So there
but
were
I'm not
like a
sure.
couple of discussions around that. I think he has eventually raised a PR, but initially he mentioned that maybe we don't need to update in the lean spec repository, and we can just amongst the client teams we can decide that eventually we'll be using bin coding. So this was like the initial proposal, but if I remember correctly, he raised a PR to update this. I'll need to check it. I didn't go over through that particular PR. So let me check and get back to you on that.
So if we are looking at that, then check whether they also have added a spec for signature, and if they have added a spec for signature, then can we also update our spec library? Kai has already added the
Mhm.
basic, basic of the libraries, which basically look at the fixtures that the spec library generates and sort of generates those test basically in text format, because so you generate the parallel test over here, because what happens is that when you sort of run them as spec test, then Zig's test framework is basically able to count them and see whether they pass or not. So that is something I think I found very cool about what I did. So basically, to take those fixtures and sort of auto generate the test uh, into Zig. So if we have signature tests, then probably we also need to add some sort of boilerplate sort of generation of boilerplate code to around those tests. So look at them and look at our current spec test mechanism and see if there is any spec test that we can add on this. If Python lib doesn't has a spec test, maybe let's add a spec test over there.
Yeah, sure. I think Python Live has the spec tests, but I'll look into the Zig spec tests. Apart from that, like I think there are a bunch of issues in which we had like initially planned to move spec tests on our repository as well, but I think we don't need them since like we can leverage the work that Kai has done and we can automatically take on the fixtures that are present in the Python spec test. So maybe we can close these issues, and there are like a bunch of PRs as well that are pending, and I think like they are no longer required, so we should uh, close them.
Yeah, definitely. Let's close those PRs and issues. Nupur is not here. I think she's not well, but yeah, it would be good idea for
Yeah,
someone to just look at those issues and close them out.
yeah, I'll look
So
into that. I'll
yeah, and she'll
put
close
it
them
up.
out. You think that those are not relevant anymore?
Mhm. Okay.
Cool. Let's move to Chaitanya. Chaitanya, are you there? No, you are not. I think you are muted. All right, so Chaitanya might need to rejoin. Let's move to Kai.
Uh, okay. Can you hear me?
Yep,
Yeah,
all good.
yeah. So last week I have not much updates. So just completed the issue about uh, make node command to consume the devnet one configuration. Yeah.
Thanks, Kai. Yeah, that was a very nice PR. So now we are DevNet 1 compatible as such, both in terms of our normal beam command and also in terms of basically reading through lean quick start. So I think one of the things that we might further need is so instead of generating, so right now lean quick start generates the public keys and private keys, right? So the next step would be not to generate the entire private key for this particular length, right? But to just some sort of dump some seed and then use the new Rust API in which you don't generate all of the key together. You basically generate, go to the next step, then go to the next step. So we need to see how to do that. Uh, but from what I remember is that to generate the public key, we might still need to go through. So that Genesis generator might still need to go through the entire uh, all the sequences, all the leaf sequences,
Uh,
because you won't be able to generate the public key without that, right?
you wouldn't need to generate for the entire range, but because the library automatically pre-computes the root hash for the full lifetime, but it assumes it to have empty leaves instead. Um, so you can go ahead with a shorter one in the Genesis generator.
No, you won't be able to so if, for example, if you are not generated all the keys, you won't be able to generate the public root of that,
No, it,
Merkle tree.
no, it works. So the Merkle tree for say if I choose a lifetime of 2 power 18, but I generate activation epoch of only 256, the root Merkle tree hash remains the same because they handle it in the library itself.
No,
Um,
no. So I'm not talking about activation epoch being less than the lifetime. I'm saying that, for example, I still need to generate all the keys till the activation epoch to get my public key, right?
yeah,
I can't
yeah,
say
yeah.
that, okay, no, I will just I will start with something and I will have a public key, and then on the
I
fly,
don't think so.
yeah. So I think the optimization there would be that instead of dumping all the leaf keys, you would be able to, sort of generate the next leaf key when the validator needs it, right? So currently what we have done is that
Okay,
the Genesis generator generates public key and private key JSONs, right? And so public key JSON is there, then there is private key JSON, but when it will be too big, so it has currently all the leaf private signatures, private keys onto it, right? So instead of having all the leaf private keys onto it, there might just be some starting seed, and the validator would basically read that seed and will generate the key on the fly, right? For example, each time you only need to generate the next sequence in that seed.
uh,
So this
I
is
see
my
what you mean.
understanding of the optimization, right? So if that is there, then the Genesis generator does not need to dump all the private keys into the JSON, or it can dump the private keys into JSON and also can dump a seed dot JSON, where the validator will then have an option whether to read the private JSON file because it could be too big, or to just start from a seed and go one by one, because uh, I mean, at least right now, we won't have that problem because we are starting from the index 0 itself, right? So
Right.
going forward, maybe when you are restarting your validator on or freshly, or your database crashed, then basically you would need to roll your seed all the way to that particular index from where you want to start voting. But for now, I think this might just be fine. So Kai, can you check this thing? Do you
Yes.
understand what I was talking about?
Uh, not quite sure, but I can check. I'm not quite familiar with XMS.
So we basically, maybe we can check this in the next call that we have on Wednesday with everyone. So whether
Yeah.
they
Because I
have.
think in the specs they don't have an option to take in a seed. They do it like they generate a random number on the fly.
Yeah.
Like last I checked, they didn't had this functionality.
So they discourage using deterministic generation of keys as well. But Gajendra, I follow what you're saying. You essentially want something similar to the EIP 2938, right? The where you could probably start off with a single seed, and the validator just before it needs it generates the next set of keys that is necessary. I think I mean we may have to agree on something that all teams can work on, but it's not presently addressed in the library as such, because we need probably a new EIP for it on how validators will approach it. Because I mean, we could probably propose something, but I'm not sure it is readily available out of the box in the library right now.
Okay, so maybe in the next call, let's ask this from them and push for this, because eventually we will not I mean, we won't basically be able to load GBs of keys into memory and
Yeah.
do with it. So cool. All right. So this is something need to be figured out. What else open issues are there? But before that, let's talk to Chaitanya.
Yep. I'm audible now.
All
Yes.
good.
Okay. Hello everyone. So again, like everyone, I don't have a lot of updates, but I have some questions as well. I did connect to Partha, but so basically I did some build fixes and just something, few things around that testing that it works fine. So I see there is an issue open as well for automated versioning and builds and releases. So I think that can be addressed now as well. Apart from it, I've just been trying to get to test the Poseidon hasher for on the SSC front, and it's harder than I imagined. But so the key things that I found out was that first off, again, since there were so many field versions as in Zig Poseidon, I was a bit confused. But given that we wanted a 16 field width, uh, it did narrow it down, but then I found some divergences in Zig Poseidon. So it was for, if I remember correctly, round constants and um, uh, also diagonals. So the V0 probably diagonals. Again, I had to look into this. I'm not very much into familiar, was not very familiar with the cryptographic side of things, but also talked with Partha very recently, and I just got to know that now Zig Poseidon is already integrated in hash Zig itself. So my plan of action was to just test the outputs from Plonky 3 Rust library, generate the outputs like we did for the SSG SHA-256 hashes, and then hard code them in tests. But again, as there were divergences, I struggled a bit over there. Also right now there is hash Zig has this, so I'll have to move the integration from Zig Poseidon to hash Zig. I think the wrappers I wrote for the SHA-256 library, the APIs would work fine, but that is something I got to know just today, so I'll move that. But if there is some guidance on like if anybody has an idea what would be the ideal way for testing this, and should I be trying to test against the values generated from Plonky library itself, or should I try doing it through hashsig now lean signatures library? That would be very
So
helpful.
why are we not using Zig Poseidon? I thought whatever we were using in hashtag library, we were
Yeah.
sort of upstepping it in Zig Poseidon, right?
So just to give a context, Gajendra, what I ran into is last week when I noticed the key generation time was slow in the Zig version. I did some instrumentation with the help of AI as well. What I understood was that this hash Zig, the Zig implementation is slower, especially in the key generation because it tries to compute close to 16 million Poseidon hashes for a key generation, and the algorithm used to generate this hash is not optimized, so it is slow. So what I did was I moved the logic from Zig Poseidon to hash Zig library for so that it will be easier for me to debug and identify and improve what the issue is. So the current hash Zig, the Zig implementation uses its own what do you say, Plonky and Poseidon 2 implementation, which I'll move to Zig Poseidon once I've identified and optimized the code. That is why you have two separate versions of it. Having said that, the major code, at least on the constants that Chaitanya was using, still what is there on Zig Poseidon is still relevant. But if you wish to, you can use from HashZig, but just be aware that because it is code that's still being tested, something might break. So it's something that probably you would have to decide. So that is the context behind why we have two copies, Vijay.
Yeah, but instead of sort of right now trying to optimize it, let's first get the SSD Poseidon hasher working first. So in that sense, I'm not even worried about whether it's matching or not. So first is, do we have the integration ready, Chaitanya, or there is some problem over there?
No, no, the integration even right now to whatever version of Zig Poseidon it points to, it works. So we also have a test running, the test we had for SHA-256 based hasher. Those are failing. So definitely the hashes are being generated and those they are different than what we had. That has been working since the last 2 or 3 weeks when I first raised the draft. But it's just that the testing framework around this, I'm again not sure, given that there are these changes in everything. Is it even worth pursuing making the test equivalent right now?
So, I mean, question is, what are we making test equivalent to, right? So, I don't think so. This is the first step over here, and maybe we would want someone to tell us that what is the canonical hash of some things, right? So,
Right,
if we
right.
we are able to establish that, so maybe I will schedule a call with Toma to discuss this.
Yes, so my idea was, as I said, to just because Zig Poseidon is the Plonky 3 equivalent. So take the because Plonky 3 has what function we are using finally in the hasher is the compress function, which gives out output of the length that we want. So again, it fits well into our requirements over 32-bit chunks, 32 byte chunks. So uh, that is there, and the same function is present in Plonky as well, but not in the higher level libraries like hash sig does not have it. Sig right now. So the idea was to use Plonky 3 and have the exact same one-to-one replication for whatever wrappers we are using, since the compress function is over there, or not even have the APIs that I wrote for the compatibility. Just one-to-one test what hash Zig Poseidon puts out is what Plonky 3 puts out. So that was the initial idea. Uh, After that, it was to make sure the wrappers that I wrote, they do not interfere with the actual hash roots being generated.
So what we are saying is that we want to come up with the same hash that hash sig sort of generates for a
Uh,
given input.
Plonky 3 generates, yes.
So where do we have some sort of a standard library? How do we measure that?
Uh, I suppose Plonky is the standard one. The Rust libraries are being yes, you using this in the background. Uh, so they just use this and get all their functionality from Plonky 3 library itself.
So I mean, the only thing then we want to test on parity is that we take an input and say that, okay, but so we give it to this hasher and it comes out same as Plunky, which is, I mean, I think if you just try to hash a 32 byte vector, it would be the same, right? It doesn't hash that.
Yep.
It just, the input and output is same, right?
Mhm.
So, okay, let's try to figure out what is the test that we can sort of, at a very basic level, check that the hash is same. But apart from that, I don't think that there are the other SSD related standard hashing outputs that are available. Maybe we start
No,
publishing
no.
them. What is the next step over here, Chaitanya?
The next step is just I'm trying to make sense. As I said, that it was a lot of things for me to learn as well. What exactly is this? So, what are these diagonals? How do they affect it? From what I understand, the hash Zig version, which Partha updated last week, it can be used, and I'll move to that and just try that with the Plonky 3 equivalent. So hash it, see if we are getting the same result over there. That is the only way we can test it anyhow. But again, my where I was lost was on the fields thing. I also connected with Partha about this just recently. So I think I should be able to move forward right now, but I'll keep in touch with Partha if there is anything that is just stopping me. But if we just want to put it out there without any testing, that PR just works fine as it is.
So my question is then, I just forgot what I wanted to ask.
No worries. But if you remember it, put it out there in the chat or the DMs. But again, it's again, I'm not very in this, not very familiar with
Yeah,
how the internals
my
work.
question is, so Partha, or you might, or anyone else might answer it. So my question is that what is the difference between koala bear 18 and 24?
So 18 and 24 is,
It's just
yeah, Partha, please. Yeah.
go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I think you'll do it better. Yes. Yeah.
So it's just the width for the compress function returns how big the particular is. If it's 16 and 24, I believe. One is 16 length, the other one is 24. So that's why it is used. But for the purpose in HashSig, mostly it is using 16. I think I've seen in a couple of cases where they use 24. But I think for the purpose of SSZ, we should be I mean, it's enough to use 16 compress.
Yeah, because no, the width, I think, as Chaitanya also mentioned, is width is 5. So
But
what
that
does
is not
16 and
being
24
used
represent?
as a second.
What is 16 and 24 representing? I mean, what is it? It is the size of the space of the field, or what is it? What does it represent?
The
Ag-
field. Yeah, Partha, please go ahead.
No,
I'm
no,
not sure.
I'm confused. The terminology that cryptographers use and which we are used to are completely different. So, when I understand the width, I was under the impression it is the string. So again, all I did was port. I don't know the underlying logic behind it. So my understanding is it is the width of the compressed output that comes out, not necessarily this. But I follow your question, Gajendra. There's a particular width that they specify as 5, which I believe is one of the hypercube parameters, but it is not the output string that comes out. So I'm confused with the terminology used here as well. But yeah, I don't know. Possible, Anshul. It could be width of the tree too, but I don't know.
Yeah, I guess maybe we all need to take a little bit more deep dive using AI to see what
Yeah.
it really means. Cool. I guess with this sort of, DevNet one, so I'll just go over Nupur's update because she has messaged me. So she was working on automating images to Docker Hub, and I think there was one issue which Chaitanya is working on, which is docker.prebuild. Chaitanya, is that done?
Yep, that is done. PM suggested a better, like a more easier to read solution. I've implemented and pushed that out as well. I've
All right.
tested it as well, and it seems to be working for me on various architectures.
And she also worked on GitHub release for Lean Quick Start and is sort of waiting for input for fork choice metrics from Katya. And I think Katya just replied that she will respond after she has looked at it. All right. So these are the updates from Nupur as well on DevNet 1. So basically, we are now working with Lean Quick Start. I need to now start testing it with some other client. So I'll just manage and see whoever is ready with their thing, or who wants to, or someone else wants to take this up. Cool. So it will be me. Okay. If it will take time, I'll pass on to someone else if there are any issues that will come up. I'm not assuming anything is going to come up. So with that, I think our DevNet 1 is sort of handled. With regard to DevNet 2, we'll start looking at Lean Quick Start. We'll start looking at Lean VM and see how to aggregate it, and then sort of move forward. I'm not sure is if there is anything that is on P2P front as of now. Uh, but Kai, I think we should start looking at what is happening on P2P front for this. What are the optimizations that we are trying to look for and how to sort of go for it and propose it in the next DevNets. I will also look at Anshul's PR for syncing the blocks because that is something will be very powerful as soon as we have it. And anything else that is out there?
The Ansible PR, Gajender, if you can have.
Yeah, I will
Some
sort
time.
of look at Ansible PR after the integration because I don't want to delay the integration with other clients, integration testing with other clients. And then I will
Sounds
start
good.
looking at the Ansible PR again. So we have a new joining today, Go. Go. This is how we'll pronounce you.
Yes, yes.
Hi, Go. Welcome to the Zeam call. Please introduce yourself.
Uh, I'm just listening. I'm not. I am not. I'm sorry. I don't know how to express myself.
No problem. Go. Thank you for joining the call and do let us know whatever interests you. And if you're just listening or if you also want to engage. So thank you for being here, guys. And then we'll see you in the next call and we'll get some of the things clarified in the next Wednesday call. So till then, have fun.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
See you.